Hey everybody, Nathan Rich here again. I'm back in Qijiuba, the 798 Art District of Beijing. Today I want to talk to you about a very interesting thing that I noticed when the Western media talks about the COVID-19 death rate in China. I don't know if you remember this or not, but a few months back, all the crazy conspiracy theorists out there started saying that millions, no, tens of millions of Chinese people had died from COVID-19. Their proof? People who went home during the Spring Festival and were staying there for an extended amount of time also happened to shut off their phones since they lived with their family and didn't really have anybody to call and they weren't going back to work. But that was spun as, oh, people shut down their phones? That means that they're dead. Of course, the real thing that's dead in this case is the brains of people who wrote these articles who don't understand that here in China, 99.109% of all people who have telephones have a pay-as-you-go plan. If I stop paying for my telephone, it just shuts off. That's it. There's no monthly credit thing where they trap you and sap all your money away because this country hasn't built itself around sapping you for all your money to give to corporations. At least not yet, and hopefully it never will. So the culture is different. One of just many millions of examples of why people who don't understand China shouldn't be making huge, very controversial, strange claims about it without doing actual research. As soon as I saw that ridiculous claim, the first thing I thought of was, well, of course their phones got turned off. They stopped paying for it because they're living with their family. And they know that if they want their phones back on, they can just pay for it at any time, i.e. when they go back to work. Big mystery solved. But that's not really my point. What I wanted to talk about actually was, if you look at a lot of the reports from back then and the way that the West was talking about cases in China, if you remember, there was also reports of people saying, oh, the death rate in China is so low that this is actually fake because SARS was much higher. That means that it's all totally lies. And so you had people reporting that the death rate in China being so low was definitely a sign that China's lying. But now, after that has sort of faded away, you don't really hear anything about the death rate per country anymore. Have you noticed that? And recently Trump said our death rate is the best in the world in America, which is, of course, not even close to true. But it reminded me of something that nobody else is really talking about, which is, forget about the fact that Trump just made that up and it's apparently based on nothing. Okay, a lot of people have covered that. That's not that interesting. What's really interesting is the death rate that America is reporting is now less than the death rate that China is reporting. According to Trump, it means that America's great and doing wonderful. And that's the sort of official narrative. When China has a low death rate, it means, oh, they're lying about something. Something's not right here. When America has a low death rate, it means America's doing great. We're nailing it. It's so ridiculous to me. Now, keep in mind when you hear these death rates, by the way, that they're not accurate. They're only based on the cases that we know and the rates of death of those people. They're not based on the total estimate of how many actual cases we may have. And this, again, goes back to the difference between facts and truth. Science and the medical community goes off of something called facts. It's not really concerned about the truth so much as facts. The facts give us these death rates. Later, we may estimate that the truth is different than the facts are showing us. In other words, we may say, where we thought there was 1,000 cases based on fact, we are now estimating there was probably 2,000 cases. Okay, so the death rate in actual reality may be half of what we thought it was before. However, the facts tell us a different thing. Anyway, you get my point. It's just another of hundreds of examples I can think of where this double standard is used. When you talk about China, this number is bad. But when you talk about the United States, the same situation is proof that America's great. This is the type of thing that I'm trying to fight back against. If you want to contribute to this channel, you know all the ways, please do so. Anyway, this is just yet another example of the double standard that's applied to China in the global discussion. One thing when it's talking about China, oh, that's very bad. The same thing talking about another country, oh, that's proof of good. So keep your eyes out for this type of thing in the future. Until next time, thanks everybody. 谢谢.